Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Keggernaut, but just call me Keg, and with the release of patch 7.2, I thought that I would redo my video on the proper way how to fully spec out your artifact weapon for the Vengeance Demon Hunter. So we're going to be getting some new traits, as you can see here off in the corner, and there's a couple more buffs and stuff around here that we're going to want to obviously cater to. So first things first, I'm just going to quickly fill out the artifact. So the new people who are just getting into tanking, or just anybody who's curious, this is the way to go. So you're going to head off into Soul Carver and grab all these traits on the way down to Fueled by Pain. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to Infernal Force, Defensive Spikes, Embrace the Pain, and then Painbringer after that. Reason being is because Painbringer is very, very good for mitigating super high hitting hits. But really, this doesn't matter too much because you're going to have so much artifact power from the artifact knowledge anyway that you can really just grab anything. So after that, you're going to be grabbing these traits down here to get Charred Warblades, then finish them off grabbing these like that, then dropping our 35th point into Soul Gorger, and then we get access to Illidari Durability after we do the artifacts upgrade quest that's going to be in our class order hall. So some people might be wondering, okay, well, I see that there's a couple more traits that are unlocked now. I can actually get these up to 4 ranks instead of only 3. What do I do then? Do I grab some of the new ones that are brand new? Obviously, they might be pretty powerful. Or do I grab the best ones from the old tree? Now, first things first, if you're at 54 traits already on live as of 7.15, in 7.2, you will be getting all of that artifact power refunded past 35 traits. So basically, you're going to have 4 traits that you can spend on for free with some left over. So we're going to be able to spend our artifact points however we want on the first 4 traits for free if you're at 54 by the time 7.2 rolls out, which is obviously today. So what I would do is I would go ahead and grab Illidari Durability, increases damage, armor, and stamina by a lot of %. Now, what happens, a lot of people don't know, is that at 35 traits, well, not even at 35, but just you could see the tooltip here, stamina increase for every trait purchased, and damage dealt increased for every trait purchased. And then Soul Gorger used to go up to 20 traits, so we would get increased armor from that. Now, if we don't have 54 traits, we're not getting these extra small % bonuses that we would be otherwise at 54. So what Blizzard went ahead and just made one big trait so that we stay at our current power level, or we could be a little bit buffed depending on how many % they gave us across the board over here. So our first trait that we grab is going to be Illidari Durability, so we don't get any weaker as 7.2 drops. We're actually going to be more powerful, if not the same. So now, to look at the new traits first, we've got Lingering Ordeal, increases the duration of Metamorphosis by 0.5 seconds for each trait. So we can get an extra 2 seconds of Metamorphosis in every instance of Metamorphosis that you can imagine. That means when you actually cast Metamorphosis, that means on Last Resort procs, and that also means on Fueled by Pain procs when you randomly pop into Metamorphosis after consuming souls. That duration is increased as well. So that's pretty good, but a little lackluster overall. It's pretty good bonus, but it's not the biggest thing. Now, Erupting Souls, Soul Cleave deals 100% of attack power additional damage for each soul fragment it consumes. Now, this sounds pretty good, but honestly, this isn't that great. I'm using some notes from Monkey on the Demon Hunter Discord, so shout out to him for the math here. Erupting Souls, actually, point per pain spent, damage that you get from this. Fracture still is double the value per point of pain spent, even with Erupting Souls at 5 souls. So really, it's not that great. Plus, this AoE, it sounds like AoE. I mean, Erupting Souls, that sounds like the souls will burst and do AoE cleave. No, it only bursts for extra damage on the target that you hit Soul Cleave with. Now, yes, Soul Cleave will hit multiple targets, but not this extra damage from this trait. So I don't know if that's supposed to be working that way. It doesn't sound like it should be, but right now it's not. So it's not that great of a trait overall. And our last one, Flaming Soul, damage from Soul Carver and Immolation Aura extends the duration of your Fiery Brand by 0.5 seconds. So this is interesting. At first I thought it was a little lackluster because only 0.5 seconds, but I forgot, that Soul Carver and Immolation Aura actually tick for damage afterwards. So you can get, I believe, 4 ticks on Soul Carver and up to 6 or 7 on Immolation Aura. So every time that your opponent gets damaged who has this Fiery Brand debuff on them, you will get an extra 0.5 seconds of duration on that. So so much so that if you do it correctly, you can actually get up to around 16 seconds of increased duration. So that's just pretty powerful overall. Now, especially with Fiery Brand and Burning Alive, like in AoE situations, having that increased duration for a 40% reduction on up to 5 targets is insane, especially for Mythic Pluses. So this is a must grab talent almost as soon as we can. So what we would do is we grabbed our first trait with Illidari Durability. And I would go ahead and I would grab Lingering Ordeal, honestly. I think it's very, very powerful, the Metamorphosis. Yeah, I didn't talk too great about it, but, 2 extra seconds in every instance of Metamorphosis sounds really awesome. Now, for as good as Flaming Soul is, it might not be worth to grab Erupting Souls first. So I would go ahead and grab something that would increase our damage. So Fiery Brand is the way to go, I believe. We get increased damage from, Fiery Brand, the extra fire damage. Then, because we're getting so much artifact power at this point, it's really starting to increase, I would just go ahead and start making our way over to Flaming Soul. We got the increased damage on Fiery Demise. Now that it's going to last longer and do more damage, now we're, pretty much set up for the rest of the time that we're going to be tanking. Now, we've got all the new traits, but where do we go ahead as far as grabbing these 4th traits here? Now, since we just got our Lingering Ordeal increased this way for Metamorphosis, I'd go ahead and grab Embrace the Pain for an additional 5% HP. I think that'll be pretty nice for that overall. Then you can kind of choose other ways. Do you want more DPS? You can go ahead and grab Aura of Pain and Infernal Force and Honed Warblades, things like that. Or you can go more survivability and grab things like Devour Souls, Aldraki Design, and Shatter Souls, or even Will of the Illidari. I feel like there's a good balance between between DPS and survivability. So I personally would go ahead and grab Devour Souls first, just because Soul Cleave is so important to our survivability overall. Then grab Aura of Pain for the extra AoE damage. Then going ahead and grabbing Infernal Force, I think Infernal Strike, fire damage, and then Fiery Demise. With this, I think overall it's going to be a nice increase, plus the Charred Warblade's healing is nice as well. Then we can go ahead and grab Aldraki Design or Honed Warblades or Will of the Illidari. Really, any of those after that, it's fine to go for. But make sure that you leave Shatter the Souls for last, because it's the weakest trait that we have. So once we get all our 51 traits, we filled out everything else, everything's maxed out, we have access to the newest trait called Concordance of the Legion Fall. Now, every single spec gets this in the game. Your abilities have a chance to trigger Concordance of the Legion Fall, increasing your primary stat by 2,000 for 10 seconds. So for Vengeance tanks, it's going to be agility. So with every trait, as you can see, we're going to be getting a small increase in primary stat. Now remember, this is a proc. It's not flat out extra agility all the time. And you can see it's about 1.37 procs per minute. So you can see maybe 2 procs per 3 minutes, maybe 3 or 4, depending on RNG for every 5 minutes. So yeah, basically, that's what we're going to be working with here. After we get our 50 traits, that's really all we have to go. Now, as far as relics go, you can go for the AoE damage on Aura of Pain, you can go for Devour Souls, and you could even go for Fiery Demise. Or what you can do is even grab more Lingering Ordeal relics, because this will have a chance to, you can't get new relics from this trait. So even further increase your duration on Metamorphosis, which I think is pretty neat. Honestly, I don't know which would be the best ones to go for relics, honestly, with this new trait in the mix. But you can go ahead and grab the ones that you think are most useful for you. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment down below of what you think, and also subscribe for more further content. Please follow me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Keggernaut, and I'll see you guys in the next video, or I'll see you guys live on stream.